Welcome back to another episode of Level Up Cleveland. This week we are with the boys from Citizens Unaware. And we have in the studio with us today, Jayk Martin.
Hey, how's it going?
Jayk is the vocalist, and Jayk plays some keys and does half the writing, I guess you would say, in the band.
Yeah.
Also, we have Justin Inneman also with us today. Justin plays bass, and he's also the co-writer in the band. These two guys actually write all the music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
half the vocals as well.
Yep.
You guys split the vocals up?
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming down, guys.
No
Appreciate
problem.
it.
Thanks for having us.
First question I have for you guys, because I'm kind of intrigued by the name, Citizens Unaware. Who came up with it? How did that happen?
It's a little bit of a story because technically Justin came up with it being our name, but so we were in another project together and we were working on a song, and I wrote a lyric crashing into citizens unaware of the damage that I'm causing, and he really liked Citizens Unaware, so we decided to take that as
They don't
our
even
name.
go together in the sentence, but you
No.
put them together
Yeah.
there.
I just like how it's how he sang it in that song. It kind of sounded like they went together, and I just kind of liked. I thought it flew.
Yeah, if
Flowed.
It had flow.
It had flow. If I had to put a label on you guys, which is really going to be difficult to do because it's literally like you put a whole lot of music into a blender and just to see what comes out. But it's really well produced.
Thank you.
It sounds really good. But like if I had to put it's like a progressive pop, which is I don't know if I ever really said that, but it's kind of like that where there's not a lot of mainstream type feel to it. But it's got a poppy sound to
Yeah,
it.
we try to keep it catchy and simple, but
Yeah, and you guys will have cool little break parts that'll come in, and those a lot of times those ones you'll get that rhythm feeling going, but then you guys will go back to the
that comes a lot from I think us having so many different backgrounds. Like I come from originally I'm in a metal band. I was like a metal vocalist, and then I switched and I was like a folk solo thing, and then I did hip hop and R&B.
So you don't
stuff.
change much when you change. You don't go really crazy. You just go from metal to folk.
Yeah, just a little bit of a change. But yeah, so I really just love like the wide like diversity of backgrounds of music that I think has influenced our sound a lot. And then he has like completely different influences from me almost. So it's just like all of those together are great.
I think if you took like our top 30, like individually, like favorite bands or best influences, there would be zero overlap between.
probably.
Really,
Probably
it's
not.
it's that much diversity between the two of you.
But
guys.
oddly, we agree on like everything, which is why we work so well together. So
Yeah, that is hugely important to trust each other because that's basically what that comes down to, right?
Yeah, and I think we've both been through enough experiences with trying to work with other people where, you try to come up with ideas, you try to pitch stuff, and it's just too hard, and personalities clash.
Yeah.
And at least for me, this is the first time I've worked with somebody where it's like, oh, let's write a song about a frog, or let's write a song about cargo pants. And it's like, okay, let's do it. Let's figure out the best way to do it. And, if it's lyrically, not very intelligent, it doesn't matter because it's going to groove, it's going to be fun, and it's at least something that we would ourselves want to listen to, which I think is the most important thing for us.
So who comes up with most of the ideas, or is that even like split? Who would you say?
It's about 50-50 of the ideas. I'm really good with working with a prompt. So if you give me like he came up with a couple of our ideas of songs, and he would give me like just like a prompt of write a song about this, and then I'm really good about I can bust that out.
Yeah. That's usually how it goes. Is all like for like B-Town, for example. I don't know why. I was just at work one day and I was bored, and for some reason it just came into my head. I'm like, oh, B-Town. I just had those two words came in, and I was like, what about a little town of working class bees, and the honey factory was shipped overseas, and now they're all upset and an angsty little small town. And then I texted him, and like 35 seconds later, he was like, here's a full verse. So that's usually how it goes, is I'll have a dumb idea, and I'll be like, hey, can you make this dumb idea into something? And he's like, yeah. There's an idea in my head now called Anxiety Shark, about a shark who's scared of drowning and whatever. But it makes it easy for me to, shoot him a text while I'm at work, and then he usually will get inspired super quickly. He'll send over a demo, then I can go home, throw drums on it, and then it's a quick turnaround from there. It's a kind of a finished product.
how do you guys get to the point where you're at now, where you guys are producing like this? Like what?
So a lot of my background, because I had to work by myself in Texas, because the music scene there is like the music that I wanted to do. There's not really a lane for it. So I ended up having to start producing my own like hip hop stuff and stuff like that. And so I learned, and I've been doing that for probably about 10 years now. So like, I guess just the time and accumulation of doing that, but also the help of having 2 ears and being able to send it to him and him make some tweaks and then me make tweaks, it just has helped a whole bunch to make it sound as best as possible.
So you're in Texas when you're in the metal band.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you go from a metal band to a folk situation? Like how does that transpire?
Well, so I was in a metal band as a vocalist, in high school, and
what kind of metal? I mean, your vocals would lend itself to more like Judas Priest type stuff, or something like that.
It was pretty like post-hardcore, like screamo. I was like a screaming vocalist, like that kind of thing. But I sang in that. I've always sang, but in high school that was kind of my thing. And then I moved out of my house and after high school. And then I was just by myself and had an acoustic guitar, and I started writing a lot of songs that way, and then going to open mics, and then I started to gig that way and got a little bit of a following. And so I guess that's kind of how it happened, but I've always loved folk. My mom is like huge into like old 60s and 70s country, and so that's like all I listened to when I grew up.
Well, that's cool. Justin, what are some of your influences, and what are you bringing to the table? He said what he's into. What are you listening to?
It's kind of interesting you brought up progressive pop is how you described it. I don't think we've gotten any feedback on like a genre or like how somebody sees our music until you said that. Is my favorite band of all time, inarguably the greatest band of all time, is Rush. But I also listen to a ton of indie pop, like current stuff, not like, what you'd hear on the radio, but just kind of like more indie alternative pop music with, more straight ahead beats, but still like really interesting melodies and cool guitar lines. So I'm starting to think that it's probably being infused now in the stuff we're doing of drawing from both of those.
So you guys are now forming the band. You've formed everybody. You got everything
we're
together,
getting it ready.
And you guys are starting to look that direction now. So you have on guitar, you're going to have Ryan Bliss playing guitar. Now, how you guys find Ryan? Give me a little back.
He's a coworker of mine, and he actually has his own musical project. And I liked his stuff a lot. It's really good, super well produced compared to our stuff. And we just became friends, and he liked our music. And I said, hey, like, we want someone to play guitar with us live. And we didn't really want another voice in the room when we're writing, and he wasn't really interested in being a member of the band. He just kind of wanted to play and have fun. So he just made a little agreement of like, hey, when you're ready to play your stuff live, Jayk and I will come and play for you, and you can play guitar for us live. So
okay, and so Nick Austin's going to be playing drums live.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of
yeah,
Justin's
he's
friends.
actually just been my best friend since about 7th grade. We met in 7th grade band class. But yeah, I mean, he's just one of the only people that I would really trust. Not that like my parts are insane or like there's any sort of like, oh, these need to be played exactly how they are written. But it's like he's just one of the only people I trust to kind of get the feel right. During
the break, me and Jayk were talking about the podcast thing that we're doing here and everything. And you said you were actually thinking about.
So you guys were trying to start a community of like musicians and other like artists who help each other. And I've been trying to like think of a way to do that for the longest time. I posted on Craigslist like maybe 3 or 4 months ago, maybe 6 months ago, that like if there were any young bands in like high school or like younger bands who didn't have money to record, that I would record them in my basement. And I don't have like the best recording setup, but I have enough that I could get a good demo out for people. And there was such a high price barrier when I was in high school to like get something recorded and get a demo out. Cause like if you don't have a demo, it's really hard to get a show, especially if you've never played live. You just have to like record yourself with your phone, and sometimes that sucks. So Yeah, I really want to help like defeat that price barrier to get into music, because being able to create and like do something without the like the barrier of price and like money is so freeing, and I would love to help with doing that. So that's like one of my passions.
That's awesome. That is kind of our thought process with this show too. Is that you guys are relatively new right now as a band. Is the thing you're involved with right now. I would love to see another band want to reach out and be like, hey, we want these guys to open up for us, that kind of thing. Where you have this cross promoting going on, where you have bands that are like trying to pull in other bands, bands that have been there already. They're 3 years, 4 years into it. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, we got a following, come on in. We like what you're doing. You guys are cool guys. We can all hang out. And then it becomes that whole thing where bands are starting to hang out with each other. Yeah, and then you can put together these festivals. And
huge shows, and you don't have to have the reliance of like a promotion company or something to put those together. It's really nice. It would be like really, really ideal. And then I would love to be that band 3 or 4 years from now that like pulls somebody up and says like, we have an opening and we have a following. Come share this with us. Like that's one of my dreams in music. So
like, my goal is with people listening to songs like Cargo Khakis or Just a Frog, which is about frog divorce. It's just like, I want you to be laughing through the song. Yeah, I don't really want you to take our music seriously, because I don't take it seriously. You know what I mean?
You're not taking the music seriously, just the lyrics. Basically, we're talking about the lyrics. The music's a whole different.
Yeah, I like to say that we don't take ourselves seriously, but we take the music seriously.
Yeah. And you guys definitely a different type of music. But it's not, I know it's easy to say, the silly part and stuff. And it's only because it's different. It's not necessarily silly. Silly to me is when it sucks.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And you guys definitely don't suck. So it's definitely just something different. I mean, there's no question. I mean, if I'm listening to your music and I don't think that you guys are trying to do something different, I'm crazy. And when you're listening to every lyric, or how many of them are about love, how many of them are about the same thing over and over again. So if you just don't want to do that anymore. Yeah. You don't want to write the next love song unless you've twisted the love subject into something where a frog loves a bird, and let's see what happens, right? But when you guys are coming up with these ideas, do you ever think about like melding the music to the lyrics? So like a song about a bee. Do you ever think about, well, the music, how do we make the music emulate a bee? How do we do something where we can take these lyrics and then marriage the music with that lyric? That's
actually a really good, that's actually really good that you said that, because this morning before, when he picked me up at my house, we were just messing around with a few things while we were waiting. And I wrote a new song the other day that is about a spider, but it only was about a spider because the song that I wrote had this little synth part in it that sounds like a spider. So that like, when I heard that, I knew I already had the lyrics about the spider, and I was like, that sounds like a spider, so I'm putting the spider lyrics on this, and now that's gonna be a song eventually. But
it's a spider song coming out. It's awesome.
Eventually.
I think there's a good mix of maybe trying to do what you're saying and kind of the opposite. I'm like, well, man, this song grooves. Wait, it's about an antelope eating cantaloupe? Like that's so stupid, like, but I didn't even notice, because like the beat's cool. Or something like Just a Frog, where the opening lyric is, I'm just a frog and I missed my son's party. Then it's like, okay, I am just a frog and I missed my son's party. He is just a tad, oh, he's just a tad. I tried my best, but I had to work overtime to pay for our pad. I feel so. You gotta be on board with this, or you're not on board with it.
Yeah, because if you listen to it and you're like, this is a song about a frog, I'm turning it off.
Well, and let's just be honest. I'll say it right now. Your music's not going to be for every single person.
No, absolutely.
That's just the way that's going to be. So you got to find that person. But I definitely know there's an audience for it. There's no doubt about that. You guys will do well with it.
Thank you.
It's definitely. Like I said, it's got all the elements of pop, which that automatically is going to be. But it does have some silly lyrics and stuff. But your lyrics are stories.
Yeah, that's the most important part for me, is that I really want to tell a story, and that's how I like to write songs, is telling a story.
So when you're writing, if you're going to write in story fashion, you can get silly.
Yeah.
Because your characters can be whatever you want them to be. And you guys you still kind of, in some ways, there's some allegorical stuff that's being thrown in there too, where you're not just being a silly story. There's a meaning behind this one sentence. There's this part, actually, if you think about it, it means this. So you like to give other living things personification is what you guys like to do. You like to give the human emotion, attach it to it.
That's pretty much the only thing we do.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm starting to pick up on as I'm talking to you more. I'm surprised I didn't pick up on that more.
There's a few songs like Tea Time, which is the opening to the EP we have up, is one of Jake's songs he just wrote about because he likes drinking tea, and it's
drink tea
it's about waking up and drinking tea and how it makes you feel. And we have a couple songs from the perspective of human people, but it's fun to do it through animals. It's a little bit easier to
I was gonna say it's really easy. It's a lot easier to take an emotion and put it on to an animal and personify it and make that be like raw than to take your own self and try and tell your story through your own lens. Because if you take and you put it onto somebody else, you're objectifying it through a third person perspective instead of like trying to put it out of like, this is how I feel and this is how this frog feels. It's easier.
Well, and in the climate we're in right now, it's a safe way to write, right? Because all you have to worry about now is offending the frogs. and they're not going to say anything about anything. You can use an animal always and you have nobody yelling at you because you've upset somebody.
Yeah, but on the same thing, like for B-Town, that's another way that I can say, like, I'm kind of upset at the way that animals are treated because of the whole, like, theme about B-Town is that they're, like, losing their homes. And so it's an easy, fun, silly, lighthearted way that I can say, like, I don't like something or, like, it's a really easy, lighthearted way to say anything.
Like our song Cargo Khakis, which it actually, I'm now thinking about it. This is weird. I don't think we think about this stuff when we're writing, but in terms of telling a story, that one that is just straight up silly. It's about, you have cargo pants on, it gets hot, you zip those legs off and they're shorts now. And then the second verse is, well, now it's cold, so let's zip those things back on. That's literally the whole song. I guess it's a story, but that's maybe the only example where it is just straight up dumb.
Silliness.
There's no actual meaning to it.
But there are times that we're like, because that song originally was just going to go on the EP as just an instrumental hip hop beat, as like a little break. And then we were sitting there probably a week before we released it onto DistroKid, and Justin was like, "Should we make this a rap song about cargo pants?" And then I was like, "Yes, let's do that." And then we did it, and that's how it happened. So that was, sometimes there are things where it's just us being really stupid, and like especially like Sacrificial Bird Bath. That was like we were just being really, really stupid at his friend's house when we went to go record a song at Nick's house because he also has a recording setup. And his mom has a little bird bath there, and it's like a joke in their family that it's like a sacrificial bird bath. And so I heard that, and I couldn't get Sacrificial Bird Bath out of my head, and I went home that night and I wrote that song. And so like some things are just like really fast. I'm not thinking about it. I'm just putting it out because it's stupid and fun, and I like that vibe a lot. So I was watching a previous episode of yours where you were talking about demoitis, which I think is a really, really serious issue, because if you get stuck on a demo and hearing a song a certain way, you're gonna want to hear it that way. So it's something that I try to do is I have lyrics on some of our songs that I've had those lyrics for 10 years, and they've bounced around to others, like from song to song, and I'm like, no, I don't like it on that song, and I'll take the lyric off and I'll put it back on something else. But I think that's really important to like keep stuff that other people haven't ever heard that you've done.
Yes.
And to try it on new stuff. It keeps it fresh, and it keeps you from having the demoitis. I really hate demoitis. So.
It's very real.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Demoitis is such a real thing.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't even just come from demos. That song can just manifest itself in your head. Mm-hmm. And I was saying on that show exactly, when we came up with songs, what'll happen is the song literally is in my head. It exists.
Yeah.
It's as much as a song as I've heard on the radio or any other song. And I know you guys know exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
You can't get rhythms out of your head. You can't get beats out of your head. They're there, and it's real. So now you got to create this thing so other people can hear what you've got, right?
Yeah. That's something I have a lot. Like, I think I'm a pretty musical as the way I approach drumming and rhythm and like, how is this musically going to work? Not like, is this a cool fill? Like, how does this work musically? Does it ebb and flow with the song? But not having the melodic background, exactly what you're saying is I'll have a song in my head, and like one we're working on now called Untrained Astronauts, which is about humans.
I like that. That's a good title.
Yeah.
And I had the lyrics in my head, and I had a melody, but I don't have like the knowledge to, let me go write that down or let me go put it on guitar. It would take me 45 years to program it in on a keyboard. But, I went over, I said, hey, I have these lyrics. That's kind of what I'm thinking for the melody. I have this piano melody in my head, but I can't physically get it out. And that's one of the things that's really satisfying is Jayk is at least patient enough for me to be like, here, do this. And then he does this. And I'm like, no, this. No, this. No, this. And then eventually we get there, or it's like, oh, no, I actually like what you're doing better there. So that's one of the things that's been nice, going from exactly what you're talking about. If that song exists, I know what it is. I know what it sounds like. I know how the transition's going to be. I know where it's going. I know where it's been. So how do I get that out?
So that you did say a little something there that I caught. You were like, sometimes you'll be like, oh, I like what you just did better, right? Mm-hmm. That's why you guys work together well. That's the part right there. One thing. Because when you can give up your tune in your head and recognize that the other guy, wow, he does it to me all the time, right? All our songs. I have that demo, I just in my brain. I have these lyrics, I have a little melody thing. I'll know the beat maybe. I give it to him, and then he comes back with a completely different guitar than I had in my head.
Yeah, but it works better.
Wow, dude, that's better than
it's
what
just
I
trust.
Had. Total trust. Yeah. It's like you recognize you have limitations in yourself.
Yeah.
And when you can find somebody else that kind of does things that you're not doing that well, better than you can do, and you do things better than they can do, and then all of a sudden you're like, dude, where have you been? Like I've been wanting to meet you for a long time because these are the things that this is where I come to the end of the road right here.
And I need
someone to get over that hump. Yeah, right. And when you find that person, and then writing becomes a blast.
And I have a term for that I like to throw around very, very, very carefully, and I've only used it for 2 people ever in my life, and Justin is one of them, and that's songwriting soulmate. And that's like very serious for me, and I only have one other one, and Justin is one of them. So it's like when you find somebody that you actually like know 100% that they're going to do something that you think is good, and even if you don't, you're going to be able to talk about it and figure it out. It's so freeing in a writing process. So.
Yeah. And it's so much different kind of a fun than you could have doing anything else when you're creating something from nothing, and these crazy ideas come in, and then a month later you can hit a button and there's the song that was in your head a month ago. People just don't understand how insane that is.
Even if you're writing music that's not funny, I think that a lot of times you can still get like a joyful laughter from creating music. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, for sure. But there's a lot of inside stuff that goes on during the writing process that no one else would ever get. Yeah. You'll never even be able to convey some of that stuff. Although I gotta say, you guys go there sometimes. You guys are taking some really inanimate, not so much inanimate, just obscure things, and just saying, "Fuck it, this is what it is."
Yeah. Like for example. One of our new songs, Justin had an idea about a bomb who was sentient and had his own conscious. And
well, I was at work, and I have a coworker who likes our music, and it's just like, do you guys just write songs about anything? And I'm like, yeah, you got an idea? He's like, oh, what about like a bomb? Like that wouldn't work. And I was like, okay, well, what about and he actually had the idea of a bomb who is trying to come to terms with the fact that its destiny in life is to explode and cause destruction. So I took that and I said, okay, so the bomb has to explode at the end of the song. So what gets him there? Well, he wants to be an optometrist. But they don't allow bombs in school, obviously. So he can't go to optometry school. So he gets addicted to snorting gunpowder, which makes him more volatile because he's a bomb.
More ready to explode.
Yeah, exactly. And at the end of the song, he explodes. And that one is called The Last Line because it's the last line of Gunpowder and the last line of the optometry thing when you say, can you read that? Cover your left.
Oh, wow. See, that's what I mean, though. So you could some people could listen to this song and take it as, this is a fucking stupid song about a bomb.
Yeah, but
look at all the stuff that just went into that.
There's deep meaning and deep intertwined things, but like there's
a lot of bombs out there just driving around right now in their cars.
Exactly.
They're all over the place.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I personally want everybody's first reaction to be, this is a fucking stupid song about a bomb. But then it's like, is this a fucking stupid song about a bomb? And then you listen again, and then you listen again, and you're like, this is a stupid song about a bomb, but it's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Or like this is about a bomb, but also I noticed the parts that aren't about a bomb and are about like,
am I the bomb?
Yeah.
What'll happen is when you guys, when this is all said and done, if people go on levelupcleveland.com, we'll post anytime you guys are ready to start releasing your stuff.
Okay.
We'll post that on there. And when you guys are ready to book a gig and you guys are ready to play out, let us know. That'll all go up there. Awesome. So when you guys are ready to see these guys, we'll be able to just take you to levelupcleveland.com and you'll be able to see when they're going to be playing. You'll be able to see all their new music. And I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much all of it. I think that's it.
You guys got anything else to say? You want to promote anything? Anything else to?
We just dropped a new single, Sacrificial Bird Bath. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere. We're gonna be releasing singles like once every couple of weeks.
So you're on? Is that Spotify your main?
Yeah, Spotify. I mean,
it releases on everything.
It releases on everything, but I just talk about Spotify because that's what I use. So
well, and a lot of people are familiar with Spotify too, though.
But it is on everything and on YouTube and Apple Music and everything.
Yeah,
so.
don't buy our music, stream it.
Well, that's easy. That's a lot easier said because people just don't buy music.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's it for us.
Thank you so much for having us on.
Not a problem. Thanks for coming, guys. I appreciate it. This was awesome.
Thank you.
Fun time.
Absolutely.
All right, Citizens Unaware. Check them out when you see them. All right, we're out.
If you go to Susan's house and you look to the left of the stairs, there's a little metal bird bath. Birds are sacrificed there. Apparently, that's what they told me. The souls go to the one and only bird god. Yeah, the souls go to the bird god in the bath. Straight to the bird god. Or you will have to face his bird god wrath. Oh yeah. You'd assume that Susan's not into pagan sacrifices, some of the rituals they contain, because she is the nicest. But you'd be wrong, that's what they told me. She sends the souls to the one and only bird god. Yeah, the souls go to the bird god in the bath. Straight to the bird god. Or you will have to face his bird god wrath. Oh yeah. The bird god comes every night at 7 o'clock. It's been doing it for centuries and it won't stop. Duty bound to collect all of the bird souls we've got. Doing anything to keep it on top. And still the bird god comes every night at 7 o'clock. It's been doing it for centuries and it won't stop. It watches carefully until it finds the nicest moms. And that's why Susan got the #1 spot. The #1 spot. So now she sends all of the souls straight to the bird god. Straight to the bird god. Oh yeah. The souls go to the bird god in the back. Straight to the bird god.
That'll be fine.